In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. May Jesus and Mary bless all of you who are watching this video. My name is Father Janvier Gbenou. My pen name is Father Jesus Mary Missy Beto. And I'm doing this video because I want to share a serious problem we have in the Catholic Church. In 2016, 18, 19, 20, and 21, Pope Francis have inserted many errors in the teaching of the Catholic Church. I know that it is hard for some people to hear, but it's the truth, and there are many proofs about it. So in this, so don't go. It's important. Don't leave the Catholic Church for that. You have to stay. You have to stay in the church and to pray a lot, so that the Pope accepts to rectify his errors. So in this video, I will read for you the last open letter I sent to Pope Francis, in which I encourage him to correct his errors, and I call also for the intervention of the College of the Cardinals and the College of the Bishops. I accuse. Letter to the Roman Pontiff by Father Janvier Gbenou, pen name Father Jesus Mary Missy Beto. At Twitter, Facebook, YouTube as Father Jesus Mary. Letter to Pope Francis, Roman Pontiff. Dear Father, would you allow me, in my love for Jesus, eternal truth of the Father, for the Church and for you, to write this open letter, to draw your attention once again to the fact that you have not yet corrected the errors and heresies of your magisterium that have changed Christian morality and doctrine through relativism and situational ethics. Sincerely, we should be grateful to you because your pontificate has drawn attention to the place of the hurt and tenderness in relations with one's neighbor, the care of the poor and marginalized, the mercy and understanding of pastors toward sinners, etc. We should also mention the beautiful pages of encyclicals, exhortations, letters, and homilies that contain precious texts such as the passage from Amoris Laetitia on St. Paul hymn to charity. Pope St. John Paul II taught us to pray with the soul. Pope Benedict XVI taught us to think with our heads. And Pope Francis wanted to teach us to love with the heart. Has he succeeded? No. In reality, since 2016, various errors have appeared in the official teaching of the Church and have created a crisis of confidence of the Catholic faithful in you. Because to truly love God and their neighbor, their hearts need the truth as the light of intelligence and prayer as the nourishment of the soul. Are you aware of your errors? If the answer is no, is there not a lack of humility on your part in listening to the filial correction of many sons of the Church, bishops, priests, university professors, and experts in theology and morals, who have drawn your attention to these various errors? For example, the open letter to the College of Cardinals, July 2016, 45 signatories. Filial correction to Pope Francis, July 2017, 62 signatories. Open letter to bishops, April 2019, 20 signatories. If the answer is yes, why do you refuse to correct errors that urgently need to be corrected to prevent the Catholic faithful from committing seriously immoral acts? With this letter, I'm not calling on the Christian people to rise up, but on the Christian Pope to rise up in humility. On the 19th of March 2016, on the subject of remarried divorces, you stated that in such situations, many people, knowing and accepting the possibility of living as brothers and sisters, which the Church offers them, point out that if certain expressions of intimacy are lacking, it often happens that faithfulness is endangered and the good of the children suffers. Amoris Laetitia, note 329. On the 5th of September 2016, with the bishops of the pastoral region of Buenos Aires, you affirm that the commitment to live in continence can be proposed. Amoris Laetitia does not ignore the difficulties of this option. The mentioned option may not in fact be feasible. On the 5th of June 2017, you ordered that these 3 sentences be published as Magisterium Authenticum, Acta Apostolicae Sedis 108. Since when has a pope affirmed that the virtue of chastity is an option and present fidelity and the good of children as excuses for committing adultery or fornication, acts that are intrinsically and morally evil? Never. You have thus allowed certain Catholics to receive the Holy Eucharist without repenting of their serious sins. You have fallen into 3 heresies: rejection of the universality of the 6th commandment, rejection of the absolute character of the 6th commandment, rejection of a resolution to struggle to avoid sin, which is an absolutely necessary condition for receiving the sacrament of confession. There are many references about it. The Council of Trent, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, the Catechism of Saint Pio X, etc. On the 10th of December 2018, together with Cardinal Luis Francisco Ladaria Ferrer and Archbishop Giacomo Morandi, you authorized hysterectomy, removal of the uterus, on the pretext of the agreement of medical experts who would ensure that no future pregnancy could come to term. Since when has the Pope accepted such a practice? Never. As the state of the uterus poses no present or future danger to the woman's health, you have allowed direct sterilization, an intrinsically and morally evil act. Confer Humanae Vitae 14. And this act is now taught in Catholic universities and practiced in Catholic hospitals. It is also the first antinatalist measure of the Catholic Church and the first error of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. You have fallen into a heresy, rejection of the divine law on procreation. On the 4th of February 2019, in the United Arab Emirates, you and Ahmed El Tayeb, Imam of Al-Azhar, signed a declaration on human brotherhood containing the following sentence: the pluralism and the diversity of religions, color, gender, race, and language are a wise divine will by which God created human beings. This sentence confuses God's permission with God's will. To say that God has permitted the existence of a diversity of religions is true because God respects human freedom even when it errs by creating a religion that is not the one God intended. However, it is not true to say that God has willed that there should be a diversity of religions. In fact, Some religions practice evil, for example, idolatry or sacred prostitutions. But God cannot will evil. Since when has a pope made such a statement? Never. You have thus accepted a religious relativism that puts all religions on the same level and denies the specificity of Christianity as the supreme religion willed by God. There is no salvation apart from Jesus Christ. This is why you have taken part in the idolatry of 3 pagan ceremonies, the 4th of October 2019 with the Pachamama, the 25th and 27th of July 2022 with the Autochthone of Canada, an intrinsically and morally evil act. You have fallen into 2 heresies: rejection of the goodness of God's will, rejection of the uniqueness of Christ's saving mission. On the 21st of October 2020, in the international documentary Francesco, available on Discovery Channel from the 28th of March 2021, you publicly called for homosexual civil cohabitation laws, saying, "What we have to do is a civil coexistence law. They have the right to be covered legally." I defended this. You agreed to this documentary being made by your friend Evgeny Afinievsky, a militant homosexual who in 2009 made a film promoting homosexuality. The film is "Oh They, My Son is Gay." On the 15th of September 2021, the 5th of February 2023, and the 10th and 11th of March 2023, you called for these same laws on the pretext of the legal sharing of socio-economic benefits. Since when has a pope acted in this way, asking humanity to adopt homosexual cohabitation laws? Never. You have thus committed the most publicized papal error and a gravely immoral act. Dixit, the document of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith of the 3rd of June 2003, by authorizing an intrinsically evil sexual cohabitation. In fact, you have eliminated 3 important aspects concerning homosexuals. The first is the distinction between cohabitation laws and protection laws. Cohabitation laws are linked to LGBTQ ideology, while protecting laws are linked to human discrimination. There are protection laws for children, women, the disabled, migrants, prisoners, and so on. All these peoples are entitled to consideration and human treatment, which does not require sexual cohabitation laws. The second aspect is that homosexuals can have recourse to the common law to protect legal situations of mutual interest. Dixit, the document of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith of 2003, which does not require sexual cohabitation laws. The third aspect is the moral principle of avoiding close occasions for sin and keeping them far away. There are many references: Ecclesiasticus 21:2, Matthew 5:29-30, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and the book The Spiritual Life, a treatise on ascetical and mystical theology of Adolphe Tanqueray. There are many references about it. You have fallen into 2 heresies: rejection of a divine law on marriage between man and woman, rejection of the resolution to avoid occasions of sin, which is an absolutely necessary condition for receiving the sacrament of confession. On the 15th of September 2021, on the pretext that communion is not a prize for the perfect. You authorized all publicly pro-abortion politicians to receive the Holy Eucharist without the need for them to reject the attachment to abortion. Since when has a pope given such authorization? Never. You have thus allowed certain Catholics to receive the Holy Eucharist without repenting of their serious sins, and have failed in your duty as pastor to form the conscience of Christians to the moral goods. Dixit Lumen Gentium 25. You have fallen into two heresies: rejection of the necessity of the sacrament of penance for access to the Eucharist in the case of grave sin, rejection of the moral gravity of abortion, an intrinsically and morally evil act. Having completed this reminder, I humbly and respectfully make the following accusations before the College of Bishops and every bishop, the College of Cardinals and every cardinal, the episcopal conferences of every country, the Supreme Tribunal of the Apostolic Signatura, the Tribunal of the Roman Rota, the Dicastery for Bishops, and the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith. I accuse Pope Francis, Cardinal Luis Francisco Ladaria Ferrer, and Archbishop Giacomo Morandi of having caused the first error of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith by authorizing direct sterilization by hysterectomy. I accuse Pope Francis of failing to recognize that certain acts, adultery, sterilization, idolatry, homosexuality, abortion, are intrinsically evil and can never be morally acceptable because of extenuating circumstances or because they contain positive elements. I accuse Pope Francis of having changed Christian morality and doctrine through relativism and situation ethics, and of having fallen into the heresies mentioned above. I accuse Pope Francis of wanting to continue this in-depth change with the next synod on synodality, October 2023 and 2024, having given the right to vote to several participants in favor of contraception, fornication, adultery, in vitro fertilization, abortion, homosexual cohabitation laws, blessing of homosexual couples, euthanasia, marriage of priests, and priestly ordination of women. How else can we understand why the eminent Cardinal Robert Sarah, currently the best-known African bishop who worked for many years in the Vatican and is opposed to relativism and restitution ethics, was not invited to the synod? I accuse, finally, the following cardinals, bishops, and priests of having, like Pope Francis, a mentality that accepts relativism and restitution ethics, and of having fallen into one or more heresies. Pietro Parolin, Walter Casper, Francesco Coco Palmerio, Lorenzo Baldisseri, Christoph Schönborg, Agostino Vallini, Luis Francisco Ladaria Ferrer, Matteo Maria Zuppi, Marcello Semeraro, Blaise Kupik, Reinhard Marx, Oscar Maradiaga, Georg Betzing, Helmut Dieser, Dieter Gierling, Franz Joseph Bode, Peter Kolgraf, Heinrich Timmer-Revers, Joseph Tobin, Wilton Gregory, Robert McIlroy, José Tolentino de Mendonça, Jean-Claude Olerich, Peter Jackson, Mario Grech, Victor Manuel Fernandez, Americo Aguiar, Charles Scicluna, Giacomo Morandi, Michael Jackels, John Vester, Paul Dempsey, Joan Boni, Franz Joseph Overbeck, Bruno Forte, Marcelo Sanchez Sorondo, Sergio Alfredo Fenoy, John Stowe, Vincenzo Paglia, Joseph Maria Bonomi, Timothy Radcliffe, Arturo Sosa, Antonio Spadaro, Thomas Rees, James Martin, Mauricio Chiodi, Philip Bourdain, Adriano Oliva, Roy Donovan, Jerry O'Connor, Tim Hazelwood, John Collins, Jorge Ignacio Garcia Cuerva. In making these accusations, I am aware that I am exposing myself to sanction from the Vatican, and I am voluntarily exposing myself. In fact, this sanction would be unjust and would constitute an abuse of power by the Vatican to silence the truth. I am obliged to publish the truth that all the Catholic faithful have a right to know. I am obliged to obey the 8th commandment of the Decalogue by avoiding the sin of adulation. As for the people I accuse, I do not know them. I have never seen them. I have no grudge or hatred against them. And the action I am taking here is merely a public means of hastening the explosion of truth and justice. Indeed, if Vatican justice is truly just, it is this accused person who should be punished in accordance with the Code of Canon Law, because they have spread moral and doctrinal errors in the Church, scandalized the world with these errors, and used an international documentary to encourage humanity to adopt homosexual cohabitation laws. Jesus said, "Let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Anything more is from the evil one." Matthew 5:37. If the accused refuse the accusation, let them agree to answer publicly yes or no to the following 5 questions. 1. Is it morally right to affirm that the commitment to live in continence is an option? 2. Is it morally right to perform a hysterectomy, removal of the uterus, when the condition of the uterus poses no present or future danger to the woman's health? Is it 3. Is it morally right for a Christian, a priest, a bishop, or a pope to take the initiative of calling for homosexual cohabitation laws? 4. Is it morally right for a Christian to take part in pagan rites? 5. Is it morally right to give the sacrament of the Eucharist to all publicly pro-abortion politicians who do not renounce abortion? Obviously, the answer to these 5 questions is no. All faithful Catholics know this. Even the last baptized person with a minimum of Orthodox Christian training knows it. Even non-Catholics with a minimum knowledge of natural moral law and Catholic teaching know this. If the answer of those accused is also no, then let them explain publicly why they have said and done things contrary to that answer. I have only one passion: the love of Jesus and Mary, of the Church, of the Pope, and of humanity. My fiery protest is simply the cry of my soul. Let them dare to bring me before a canonical tribunal, and let the judgment take place in broad daylight. I am waiting. Please accept, dear Father, the assurance of my profound respect and my daily prayers that you will finally agree to respond to the dubia of Cardinals Walter Brandmüller, Raymond Leoberg, Carlo Cafara, and Joachim Meissner, as well as to the 5 questions I have just asked. Cotonou, the 16th of July 2023, Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. May God bless you all.